Intifada, like the Holocaust, describes certain specific events characterized by violence against Israeli citizens, specifically suicide bombings.
So are you saying any movement of liberation that includes violence towards innocent populations should be condemned?
We haven't had such a discussion. We're talking about the Intifada.
I'm asking you.
We're talking about the Intifada.
Are you saying that liberative political movements that include violence towards citizen populations should be condemned?
When did I say that?
I'm asking you.
When did I say that?
You didn't. I'm asking you to make a
statement.
statement.
Okay, if I didn't say it, why ask me if I'm saying it?
Well, because you seem to be saying that Intifada. Because you seem to be saying that the Intifada is bad because of its attack on Israeli populations, especially civilian ones. And so
because of the wave
that's a fair
because
argument.
Of the brutal genocidal wave of suicide bombings. Again, genocide being the stated intent. Hang on, I'm answering.
Is it just suicide bombings?
Hang on.
Is it just suicide bombings?
Hang on. Genocide being the stated intention of Hamas, and then enacted by their wave of suicide bombings against civilians.
So are you saying?
And that's what you're That's what you're agnostic on.
I got another question.
That's what you're agnostic on.
No, I am agnostic on that actually.
I don't think it's
easy to determine. I don't think it's easy to determine when a liberative struggle that includes the death of innocent people or / civilians.
Yeah.
I don't know the line at which it becomes evil because I don't know a lot of
when you do
I don't know a lot of
suicide
revolutions that didn't include the execution of civilians. You know.
Right.
I don't cheer.
You know, it's funny you mention that.
I don't know that it's happening.
Of the 100 wars that are happening in the world now, back of the earth, I don't know any in which children aren't dying. Do you?
I think war is bad.
Me too.
Okay. I also think that what's happening in Gaza is not a war.
Well, it's defined as such. You can try to change words like you did with Intifada.
Who's defines Gaza as a war?
Under the international law, it was declared, voted on and declared, and acknowledged as a war. Under international law, it's a war.
So we now agree that international law is the determining factor on what is or isn't.
What we agree on is that the Gaza war, so named, is a war.
And you also said that the reason we know that is because of standards held by international law, right?
It's one of many reasons. It's also obviously a war.
So you want to lean on international law when it favors you, but you don't want to just carte blanche lean on it.
No. I'm just defining war. If you didn't know what war was,
you're picking and choosing when you can defer to international law, aren't you?
No, I'm defining war, which I'm surprised.
And I said, who's the authority on the definitions? And you said international law.
What authority would you like?
Well, I'm happy to go with international law. You want to go with international law as a standard bearer for what isn't ethical practice of war, or it's up to you. Do you want to both agree? Do you want to both agree on international?
You said it wasn't a war, and I corrected you.
I said I don't think it's a war.
It's not. Right, and you were wrong.
No,
you just admitted it.
Why was I wrong?
Because it is defined as such.
By who?
It was officially declared.
By who?
By the parties who are responding in this war, obviously.
Which parties?
What parties are involved in this war?
So I'm asking you. Tell me who said it.
You don't know? Because you don't know what... Everybody involved understands that it's a war, except for articulate niggas.
I heard the way you say niggas, and you like to say it that way.
How would you like to say it?
I just prefer you never trying to say it again. But
okay,
do you...
change your name. Change your name.
You can say that... we have a first and last name.
Make more sense.
I'll call you El Nazi then. We'll just go with that.
Right. Well, I can call you El Schmuck.
Oh, well, I don't mind. I can't disagree with that.
Okay.
But, so the question is, when you lean on, authorities for what is or isn't...
I'm not leaning.
Well, you did.
If you don't know what is a war, I just told you.
Well, I would argue that...
Let's look up the definition of war. Armed force between states or between governments and organized armed group.
Mm-hmm. Can a war be a genocide? Can a war be a genocide?
Can a war be a genocide? So now we've understood that it's a war, right?
I don't particularly count genocide as lawful warfare. And So I don't.
Nobody said that we did. Nobody did.
I think
starting with. So
that's why I said I don't think it's a war.
But you're mistaken, and you just admitted that you were mistaken.
No, I think we just have a disagreement on what is or isn't war, and I think just
okay,
war
I'll try again. I'll try again. War.
Mm-hmm.
The use of armed force between states or between government authorities and organized armed groups.
Mm-hmm. What nation what two nations are fighting a war right now in Gaza?
Doesn't say nations.
A state-armed conflict.
Listen again. Hang on. I read it to you. Between states or between governmental authorities and organized armed groups like Hamas.
Okay. So there's no ethics on. So what? I'm saying that.
Yeah.
I am saying that, and I think many people would say that this would not qualify as a war.
So Hamas is not an organized armed group?
I mean, depends on how you define organized.
You're an idiot.
Maybe.
Yes. No, definitely. We're done, I think, right? You don't have anything to say. Bad job.
Good. You got something to say? I see you chiming in the chat.
Ooh.
Go. Saying a lot in the chat.
Good. You're embarrassing yourself and the whole room.
I do that on a daily basis, but I'm still not.
I would stop it if I were you. It's dumb.
No, I mean, I don't think I don't feel embarrassed, but I could agree
that's
with
even worse.
I don't feel embarrassed at all, actually.
That's even worse.
I mean, Norm, you're not the arbiter of what is good or bad, so.
No, I read it. I'm just reading it. Well, now that you've heard the definition of words and you want to stubbornly deny it, it's very bad. Israel formally declared war on Hamas on October 8th, 2023. This declaration followed the surprise. This declaration followed the surprise attack launched by Hamas from the Gaza Strip into Israel on October 7th, 2023. The government's formal declaration of war was made the following day. The decision was made in accordance with Section 40 of Basic Law, the government, as amended.
Okay, so I believe, and this is my view, you don't have to have it, I think what makes something like constitutes a war is that there has to be some level of symmetry between the two sides.
That's not part of the definition.
Norm, I said one thing, Norm, and I let you go. I just said nothing.
That's not part of the definition. You'd like it to be, but it is not.
Oh, so you just think anything is war as long as like...
No, I like the definition I read.
Okay, I like the one I'm reading, and I let you read yours.
Okay, let's hear what you're reading.
Okay.
Are you reading? I'll look it up there. What are you reading?
I'm just giving you my opinion. And
so you're not reading. So you're making up definitions.
I'm giving you my view. You can
so you're making up definitions.
Norm,
making up the definitions of words doesn't help an intelligent conversation.
Norm, I'm going to give you one more chance to let me get this out without you interrupting me.
I don't need any chances from you. Do you like the American Heritage Dictionary? A lot of people use that. I keep one on my shelf.
I read the definition of war, Norm.
For dinglings like you. And now I will read you the American Heritage Dictionary.
I guess it's a just war in Gaza.
Run away.
I'm not running away. I just don't like being interrupted. If I don't treat you a certain way, I'm a golden rule type of guy.
Yes.
And so I let you talk, and I'm asking for the same respect. If you don't have that ability, that's why I don't talk to you often.
You don't need to. I'm not sitting around waiting for you to talk to me.
You were. You begged for this interaction, and now we're here. You literally begged. I said, hey, Norm, I don't want to talk to you because you're not going to be fair in the conversation.
War.
So I'm asking for you to do that.
Hang on. War.
I'm not doing it. We're just going to keep talking and ruin the room now. Because I really did try, Norm. I really did try.
Please don't whine.
No, I'm not whining. This is not a whine.
A state or period of armed conflict between nations, states, or parties.
Okay, so now can I talk without you interrupting?
Ho-hum.
So now can I talk without you interrupting, or are you just going to, like...
So let's hear. So pick up any dictionary and read me a definition from any dictionary.
I already did that.
No, you didn't.
I did actually. You were too busy yapping.
No, I wasn't. I'm listening closely. What dictionary? I asked you what dictionary. You wouldn't answer. What dictionary?
I don't know what dictionary.
You don't know what dictionary?
You have a dictionary open right now?
Yes, I just opened the American Heritage Dictionary, opened it and read you the definition of war.
And I accepted
Now
that definition, by the way.
Okay, so is Hamas a party?
I think Hamas is a group.
Okay, so then it's war. Next question.
So then the question remains, if you are fighting any group, is it warfare and all acts within that conflict justified by the nature of it being warfare?
Never said any of that.
Well, then that's what we're not agreement on, Norm.
I beg your pardon?
I said it was a genocide. You said it wasn't. It's war.
No, well, that's a separate question.
I wouldn't call it a genocide, and I wouldn't call it, from that perspective, anything to do with a genocide. I call
I thought that was Emperor for a second. I thought that was Philip. My bad, Phil. I was like, Phil, you wouldn't call that.
Okay, so now we understand that Israel is at war with Hamas, which was kind of obvious, so it's a little silly to protest.
No, I don't think we understand that. We do understand that you're...
We don't understand it?
No.
Okay, which part of the definition of war was not met? Or would you like
because I don't think the stated... I think if you use the stated... if you use statements that come from people that are prosecuting the war, you can easily argue that the intent is not to have a war with Hamas, but instead to exile, cleanse, and eradicate that region of Palestine.
And yet nobody has done that, weirdly.
There's already estimates from Harvard. They say 377,000 citizens have been killed. I don't know if that number is completely accurate.
I don't know. Where would Harvard get that information?
They use some technology to be able to mark footprints in the region through GPS mapping. Okay. So the estimate is around 377.
Okay, so it sounds like they made it up, and it sounds like you're making it up.
So the question from you is, what amount of citizens could die for you to be like, oh, it was a genocide? Like, how much would it be okay for you to be like, okay, that was a genocide? How many citizens could die in Gaza? And you go, okay, maybe that was a genocide.
How many of them were combatants?
The 377 was civilians.
Well, there's only
20,000. There's only 20,000 Hamas agents in Gaza. So
how do you know that? Wait, where'd you get that number from?
Israel.
Really? Where?
Yeah.
From Haaretz?
Yep.
Where'd they get their number from?
I don't know. You have to look at the article.
I don't know.
30 to 50.
I don't know what war means.
Generally, how many guys?
I don't know what war means. I don't know what genocide means. I don't know where the West Bank is, but I got opinions.
I know where the West Bank is. Norm, how many guys?
But you didn't know. You didn't know who was in charge of the West Bank when they invaded Israel.
We already went over that. There was no disagreement over who runs portions of the West Bank, Israel, and who runs Palestine.
Well, you said it was occupied, but you thought it was a country.
The West Bank is occupied. The West Bank is occupied by Israel.
Which part?
The part that is currently occupied by Israel. The B part.
Which part is that?
Section B of the part known as the West Bank is occupied by Israel.
Sir, it's known as Judea and Samaria. It was named the West Bank by...
You just said it was from the West Bank, and now you're
saying it was named the West Bank by Jordan. And as I told you before, it is covered by a treaty known as the Oslo Accord, signed by both parties. How can that be an occupation?
Well, when you have a military presence that
violated the Oslo Accord.
Yes, and so have the Palestinians.
No.
And so both parties are in violation.
Israel initially and unilaterally violated with its settlements over 700,000